bonds or surety issuances is a pretty complicated and esoteric area. I find that the law might provide something with respect to the Uniform Commercial Code, and you say, well, that the banks would follow that. But what happens in practicality is that the banks have their own checks and balances, and they have to balance risks, so they have additional ways that they can sort of look at that situation that are more extensive than maybe the Uniform Commercial Code provides. I think that that's exactly what Commissioner Drexler was describing earlier, and I think that I'm not sure. The staff has some sort of a specific recommendation. It just seems like to me that staff has the right to take control of the issue with respect to letters of credit and performance bonds, and to do something appropriate to safeguard them physically, and to set up procedures in-house about what to do concerning those two items in terms of a past situation and account for them. But I'm not sure exactly what it is that we can affirmatively put on the table at this time. Does somebody have a suggestion for me? I'm sort of at a loss.
Chairman Winslow, let me address first the issue of security. We do believe that we need to enhance the security of our files, letters of credit, and the bonds, and whatever else is in there. Probably not only from a security perspective, but from a fire perspective as well. I would like to add that we don't have a file cabinet out here in the public area of the building that says help yourself to our letters of credit. They are behind locked doors, and so we do know who has access. I mean, it is employees and everybody, but we do know who's in the wing of the building, and so it's not like they're out where just anybody could grab something like that. So I just would like to point that out. Secondly, I think Ms. Donahue raises a good issue on internal policy and how we are to handle these types of documents. And I think what we should probably do is go back and take a look at drafting a policy and submitting that policy to you for review, and we would be happy to do that. I think Ms. Donahue makes a lot of good points, and I think we need to reconsider how we want to handle the return of these letters of credits and bonds, because if they're no longer required, either somebody's forgotten about them or they're going to want them back. So we should have a policy in place for that.
Well, speaking for myself, I appreciate the fact that the issues have been raised, and that I think that what Mr. Howard suggests is very reasonable path forward. Any commissioners have any comments or questions? Yeah, Commissioner.
Will you bring the policy back to us for approval or consideration, or it will be an internal policy which you will establish based on the recommendations?
Commissioner Correa, I can do it either way, but my preference would be to have the commissioners on the hook, having approved the policy.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I think I appreciate we're alerted to the issue, and that it's also, I think you have, or I'm sure everyone believes that you should go ahead in the manner that you suggested and come back to us, and we'll look at it. But I would just forewarn you, except for perhaps Commissioner Drexler, who's a banker, we're not experts in this area, and I assume that you're going to get professional advice with respect to some of the issues involved here. So
along those lines, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Commissioner Gray.
I was just confiding with Commissioner Drexler that perhaps it would be a good idea to get a bank relationship manager or person to sit with the staff here and just talk through some of the best practices for administering and archiving and returning and treating the credit letters and so on.
1 second.
I'm finished. That's it.
Commissioner Correa?
Is every bank has the same procedure, or every bank has different procedures? So if we get one relationship manager from A bank, bank B and C would have a different procedure, and they may or may not agree with us.
Well, regarding letters of credit, I can tell you that I've worked for 5 banks, and we have the same general procedure for issuing and returning and canceling and extending letters of credit, what an evergreen letter of credit meant. You know, it depends on the bank and how centralized letter of credit, you know, we have a department, which we do. And, you know, that's very, very well managed and very, you know, closely monitored. So, because it's big. So, it depends on the bank, but I mean, the specifics of issuing, extending, those are very similar procedures.
Thank you.
So it appears that the consensus answer is yes, please, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Chairman Winslow. I will consider that consider that an order of the commission, even though it doesn't have a number.
Yeah, I don't think that, I don't think you need an order with respect to the issue. I think it's just something that's got to get done.
Considering it hasn't been done since 1949, thank you for the opportunity.
Well, you brought the opportunity to us, and we want to make sure we returned it.
Thank you, Ms. Donahue.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Donahue.
Thank you very much.
Is there,
Thank you.
I assume that's the end of director's comments?
That is, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for attending. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Short meeting. Told you to be a